I'm sure you've come across dozens of videos of former GameStop employees talking about how bad their experience was working there and customer horror stories and how bad management was, and it was just an awful experience and they'll never go back. But as a former GameStop employee myself, I never managed one, but I was just an employee. I wanted to talk about how my experience was actually positive coming from a small store. And in honor of that store, I'm making this video because it actually does shut down tomorrow, January 8th. And it actually does make me sad. It hits home. And if you're a local GameStop, it's shut down. RIP to that GameStop. And unfortunately, I'm sure there's going to be many more GameStop shutting down in the future. But let's dive into this video and let's talk about my experience. So I'm sure 99% of people watching this video have had an interaction with GameStop. They've been in a GameStop before, whether they've purchased a ton of items or they've been a pro member or they were an elite member back in the day. I think that most people have had an interaction with GameStop. I mean, or you had a mom and pop store in your town and, it was similar to a GameStop, but you know how the gist goes. GameStop is huge, and obviously we had like the stock boom and all these other things. So GameStop is an interesting place, full of interesting people. And honestly, my big reason for why I liked it a ton is the people in general, because in a small town, it gave some of these people an opportunity to come in and interact with people who were like-minded. Whether it be me personally they wanted to talk to, or just someone that was just like simply browsing. They weren't going to buy anything. They would just come in and kind of bullshit. And oftentimes, they'd have all these crazy stories, whether if it was true or false to talk about. And these people who are introverted gamers just want someone to talk to because they're on the game a lot and they don't really get out much, and GameStop was a really cool safe place for them. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the job. I really wasn't doing it for the money, just kind of doing it part-time. I worked there for about 7 to 8 months. I started in the holiday season. And I think I want to discuss a big thing about retail specifically, and management is massive. Obviously, if you work in honestly any job, any field, management is like literally huge. So if you have poor management, I can understand why you hate your job, whether that be a retail job or a job that you used to work. You probably remember that job because you hated the manager there, and that was horrible. I hated my time there. But I think a big thing of me working there was like just low pressure. I understand that like a lot of people who have worked there in the past, that was like what they were doing to like make a living, and they don't pay a ton of money. So I can see why like that be like a stressful thing. They should probably pay their managers a little bit more money because they don't get paid a ton, especially the ones that are managing like two stores and multiple stores. So that's a big thing as well. But my manager experience was actually really good. I've never managed a store, but my managers I had three of them during my course of there. I know it sounds crazy. During 8 months, I had three managers, but um, that's how it ended up working out. One was there when I started, then moved stores, wasn't like they quit, and then I had no manager actually for a little bit, and then the other manager came in towards the end. That's when I left. So at one point I kind of was running the store, and that's why I can kind of talk from like a management perspective a little bit. And obviously it was a really numbers driven company. I mean, they're pushing the pros on people, they're pushing the warranties, and I think their warranty program is actually not too bad, especially on controllers. I personally buy the warranty on controllers even if I was the consumer, because I think it's actually a pretty solid warranty. You get the stick drift, you can bring it back in, whatever. So the pros, at least in my store, well, the people that would come in, they either already had pro, and if they were coming in, they didn't have it, they've probably been asked several times before, and they weren't gonna buy it already. So it was kind of hard to push numbers, and I can see why like they looked at my store specifically and was like, that store's not performing. But there was just not enough like people in the village to come in and like do that. But for the people who did come in, they already had pro, and it was nice to have them in. And I do think that obviously like the numbers is how they're going to make their money with the warranties and all that nonsense. But I think what, like I mentioned before, it was just like kind of a big community, and it started to lose that feel. And I think having a good manager at a GameStop specifically is really huge for these people to feel welcomed when they come in, the customers. And I wish they had more like opportunity for these kids to come in and play cards. Maybe they can like play Pokemon, like use their Pokemon cards and trade those, or play Magic, or come in and maybe just like hang out and play their Switch. I mean, you don't want people hanging out in there all day, but you just want it to feel like more like this community thing. Because when I was young, maybe I was just young and I don't remember it, but that's just kind of how it felt. They had so many midnight releases, and I know the times have changed, but there was so much community feel to it. It definitely lost its feel over the years, GameStop did, and that's just a testament to how physical games started to die and the world shut down and things changed and people stopped being less social. So I can understand why that happened, but Another thing about the GameStop that I really loved is that people would come and bring in these awesome things, and that time period where I didn't have a manager, I kind of was a little greedy a little bit, and anytime someone came in with something that I thought was really cool, I would purchase it. Like I would make sure I had money on me to when like someone would bring in like a Nintendo 64 or like a DS, or they'd bring in some like rare stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll give you some money for that. Like we would offer like 50 bucks, let's say, for something, and I'd be like, I'd give you 55 for it. And of course they'd take it because it's more than what GameStop is offering them. And it's someone that's just going to use it, not going to like resell it and take the cash. So like the stuff that comes in is what kind of makes it. I thought that was really cool. It inspired me to like, I was like, damn, I want to open like a pawn shop one day. Like I love this shit. Like this is super cool. And, you get your occasional crack it in there, just give me the money. I'm leaving. They they want to get what they want, and they want to get the hell out of there. And you get characters in there. You get people spelling like shit, and you got Febreze, and you get all sorts of characters, man. And you get people that are hammered and high, and just thinking back on it, like it was a blast, and I am gonna miss it. And obviously, like I said, it was like a part-time job for me that like I didn't take it as seriously. Like I never really wanted to move up. I never wanted it to be more than what it was. And that's probably why my experience was so positive, because I treated it that way. But that's a testament for everything in life. Like if you go into it with that mindset, like, just open-minded and just kind of going with the flow, like obviously it's going to feel a lot better. But there are certain times you have to like lock it down and you need to like perform well. And I know there's cases for that, but at least that where I was at that point in my life, like I didn't really give a shit. Like I was like, dude, I'm showing up. I get to play my Switch on work. I get to buy cool stuff if it comes in, and I get to talk to some people who like games just like me. So that was my experience there, and RIP to my GameStop that's shutting down. I just really wanted to make this video and talk about the positive. I know the negative stuff is usually what gets more clicks, but I can't lie, man. I had a really good time working there, and I haven't had gotten a subscriber yet on this channel. So if you want to be my first subscriber on Perspective, I'm making videos like this talking about mental health, relationships, like spirituality, like just all crazy stuff like about life and how we can change our perspectives on life and just my experiences through different stuff. So if you want to be my first subscriber, go ahead. And if you worked at GameStop before, drop a comment down below. Tell me about your experience down there, whether it be positive or negative. So I'm really curious to hear how your experience went. And if your GameStop is shut down, or if it hasn't shut down yet, make sure you get in there and just kind of soak it in, because it probably will be shutting down soon, honestly. But have a good day, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.